Joining us to help break down these numbers is Daryl Fairweather, a chief economist with Redfin. Daryl, thanks so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Seattle saw the biggest drop in pending home sales of any major metro you analyzed, nearly 16%. What do you think is going on here that's different from what we're seeing elsewhere?
The housing market in Seattle is so different than the way it was during or before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, Seattle's economy was growing. The tech sector especially was bringing in highly paid workers, and those highly paid workers, they competed against people who have been living in Seattle for a long time and drove up home prices. During the pandemic, that changed things with remote work. People left Seattle for places that were more affordable. And since the pandemic has concluded, hiring has slowed down significantly, partially driven by high interest rates, also by AI shifting the tech sector more towards San Francisco than Seattle. So in general, Seattle's economy just isn't what it used to be, and its housing market isn't what it used to be.
We're going to talk about San Francisco in a minute here, but at the same time, Seattle has more homes to choose from. Active listings, we know they jumped nearly 17%. That's also the biggest increase in the country. So Daryl, are we seeing a real shift in power from sellers to buyers?
Yes, while home sellers might be disappointed that prices have come down, home buyers have a lot of opportunity here. There are more homes for sale. Those homes are selling for lower prices. If a home has been sitting on the market for a while, you can probably come in under asking and get it at a discount. But there are segments of the market that are still competitive. Those homes that just come on the market could still get multiple offers, especially if they're move-in ready and in a desirable neighborhood. So the market isn't all one thing.
Well, you touched on the uncertainty in the tech industry here in Seattle. How much are layoffs and fears about job security actually affecting the housing market?
I think the labor market, the job market, is having a direct effect on the housing market. The number of jobs that are created in Seattle and how much those jobs pay, that is a big factor in terms of how much money people have to spend on housing. And because hiring has slowed down and there has been layoffs and there's uncertainty about how AI could eliminate more white collar jobs into the future, I think there's just a lot of uncertainty among people who don't want to commit to a very expensive mortgage when they aren't so sure about their career prospects.
Yeah, that would make sense. And I want to circle back to San Francisco here, also a tech-heavy, expensive market, but closed sales there, they actually rose 8.5%. So why do you think Seattle and San Francisco are moving in such different directions right now?
What we're hearing from our Redfin agents that work in San Francisco is that there are people who are making a lot of money off of AI. Either they have big pay packages or they are investors, and they want to put that money directly into real estate. San Francisco has a very limited housing supply. They do not build many new homes. So anytime there's more wealth created in the area, it shows up in home values. Seattle is different. These AI companies have not located in Seattle, at least not at scale. So there isn't as much wealth being created. If anything, these AI technologies are being deployed by Seattle employers to reduce headcount, to reduce their need to hire more workers. And without those additional workers, that slows down the housing market. There aren't as many people interested in buying.
Well, we know that the typical Seattle area home still selling for more than $800,000. That's about twice the national median. How much of this slowdown is simply about affordability?
Yeah, I want to emphasize that this isn't a crash by any means. It is more like a correction, and every housing market goes through periods of booms and busts. Although bust is probably even too dramatic to say here. In the housing market in Seattle, I think there will be booms in the future. So if you're thinking about like when is the right time to time the market, right now it is easy to be a buyer. It's difficult to be in the position to buy in the first place, meaning that if you have already gotten to the point where you qualify for a mortgage, there are homes within your budget, you should feel confident about moving forward in this market. But there are a lot of people who have been priced out and are finding more opportunities in the rental market.
Now, I do want to do a quick look ahead for the rest of 2026. Daryl, do you expect Seattle home prices to keep falling, level off, or start climbing again?
It's really hard to say how long this correction will last or whether this is, the start of something or the end of something. my personal opinion, and this, is just a forecast, is that I think that we're going through a transition period right now where companies are figuring out how to cut costs and identifying areas where they will need to hire in the future. Once companies in Seattle start hiring again, there will be more people interested in buying homes, and that's when we will start to see the recovery in the housing market. If mortgage rates were to drop, or if interest rates just across the economy were to drop, that would speed things up. We'd see both more hiring and we would see more people wanting to buy.
Well, Daryl, this will certainly be an ongoing conversation. I just appreciate you taking the time to join us to help break down the numbers that we're seeing right now. Thank you. Again, that was Daryl Fairweather, a chief economist with Redfin. Thank you so much.